So today I'm going to give you a full breakdown of everything you need to do to get results on Instagram in 2021. I'm going to cover my strategy for 2021. I'm going to go over organic growth, hashtags, influencer marketing, and how to actually generate an income from this platform going into the big new year. I'm actually recording this video on my 21st birthday. So if you want to give me a gift, a comment for the YouTube algorithm would be much appreciated, and I would thank you very much. So this is going to be a big video and I don't want it to take any longer than it should. So let's skip the intro, skip all of that. Just make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and let's get into it. So Instagram is constantly evolving and it's becoming more and more like Facebook every single day. And like many of you in my comment section have been talking about, it is becoming harder and harder for smaller creators to get noticed on the platform. But I'm going to show you some ways around that, how you can beat that and grow. So make sure for this video you take out a notepad and a pen so you can take some notes and get the absolute most out of this video. So the first thing that I'm going to talk about today is your content on Instagram. And this is arguably one of the most important parts that a lot of people sort of gloss over. They try and have average content and apply really good growth strategies to build their audience, but you're actually considerably better doing it the other way around, where you put most of your effort into creating really great content, and then even with average growth strategies, you will see results. Because all the growth strategies in the world will not help you on Instagram if people find you from whatever strategy you're using, they land on your account, and then the content is subpar. Now, subpar is relevant to your niche and your audience, but at the end of the day, just you need to be putting out really high quality stuff. Going into 2021, you need to focus on making your content as engaging as possible, whilst also making it valuable to your target audience. In the past, you could have done one or the other. You could have made it engaging, but kind of pointless, and you'd see results. Or you could have made it valuable and ugly, and you would also be able to see results. But with competition on the platform increasing year on year, you really need to do the extra mile to stand out and see really good results. Now, when it comes to this, what you want to do is you want to pick your specific niche that you are going to be trying to grow your audience in on Instagram. Understand who you are targeting that is inside that niche. So like, who is your ideal follower that you want to get in front of? And then you need to make sure that every piece of content that you put out is going to serve that person. It doesn't matter whether you're a coach, whether you are a business owner, whether you are a comedian, whether you are a model. Look at every single post before you put it out there and think, would this in some way, shape, or form help my audience? And does it look great? Is it going to grab their attention, or is it just going to be another random post that they see come up in their feed that they just scroll past? Now, the majority of people that are having problems on Instagram is because they are just failing to put out content that resonates with their target audience. It might be because the design is really bad and ugly. Sorry to be harsh, but often it's the truth. Maybe they're just behind what everyone else is doing, but usually content is the problem. If you are a coach, start creating really good Instagram reels going over micro topics in your niche. Start putting out infographics that some way, shape, or form serve your audience and teach them something. Stop just posting random photos of yourself that don't really help them too much at all. But regardless of your niche, look at what is working really well. Look at the fastest growing accounts in your niche and look at the content they're putting out. Your goal should always be better than that, or at least improve on what you're doing to the point where you can get to that level. Because if you can have the best content in your niche and you can beat out everyone else, you will grow. There is no doubt about it. I want you to look at your content on Instagram and go over these 6 questions and write down the responses in your notebook, because you should have taken it out at the start. Number 1, how can you make it more engaging? Number 2, how can you add more personality or more of your brand to it? Number 3, how can you make it look better visually? Number 4, how can you add more value? Number 5, how can you edit it better? Number 6, how can you get more creative with it to make it stand out? Now, obviously you don't have to be perfect, and it's better to start at below perfect than never start because you're trying to be perfect, but consistently look to improve what you're doing. If you just consistently do this on a day-to-day basis, trying to make each post better than your last, you will just get so much better at this, and your content will be top tier, and it'll really help you see great results. Because content is literally the pillar of everything on Instagram. If you keep improving this, you're going to rank better on hashtags. You're going to get more people engaging with your content and more strangers engaging with it, which is going to push you further on the explore page in front of new people and grow your audience. People will share your content more often if it is better, and when people land on your Instagram, a higher percentage of the people that see it it will end up following you, engaging with you, and becoming true fans purely because you have better content on your account that they want to follow and they don't want to miss out on. Please don't ignore this. Please don't overlook the power of just making the best possible content. It's massively overlooked, and going into 2021, it's going to become more and more important. If you don't have the time or skills to do this, you can go hire someone on Fiverr or Upwork. I personally outsource all of my content creation on Instagram because I'm just not great at it and I focus on where I'm good. Okay, diving into number 2, and this is the algorithm and how it works. So first things first, the algorithm doesn't hate you and chances are you are not shadow banned. I'm so sick of hearing these two things, that the algorithm has some sort of vengeance against them and that Instagram shadow banned them. And whilst shadow ban technically does exist, in most cases it is not what you have. In some cases it definitely could be, but regardless of if you have it or not, it doesn't really matter because you should be doing this all the time anyway, regardless of if you're trying to get out of the shadow ban or just grow your engagement in general without one. Because if you're seeing a constant decline in reach, chances are it's not Instagram's fault. And here's exactly what usually is happening instead. And I just want to give a side note. Very occasionally, in certain specific examples, Instagram might be restricting your reach, especially if you are posting things that are outside their guidelines. I made a video with 25 things that Instagram have publicly said they restrict the reach of. So if you fall into that category, yes, Instagram could be restricting you, but in many cases it's not, and I'm going to talk about that now. Here's what's happening when your reach is dying. You go ahead and make a post. If it's a good post, people engage with it. They like it, they comment on it, they read through it, they tag their friends, and Instagram realize, hey, this person here enjoys this person's content, hence why they spent time on it and they engaged with it. So next time they post, I'm going to show them more of this content because it's going to keep them on the platform longer. But the next time you post something subpar that's just worse than your other content. Maybe it's rushed, maybe you didn't have time, maybe you were just being a little bit lazy, and therefore people just don't engage with it as much. That indicates to Instagram that these people actually don't like your content as much as they thought they did, and the people who didn't engage with it clearly are not quite as interested as Instagram may have thought, even though they showed that content to them. Now, if you continue doing this, posting content, and someone is shown this piece of content and they don't engage with it, every single time that happens, Instagram realize that this person is less and less interested in your content, and eventually they just don't see your content anymore because Instagram are instead showing this person content based on what they interact with the most, showing them more of that as well as similar creators who they deem as relevant. This is in place to create a better experience for users and often keeps people on the platform for longer, because if Instagram want to do that, they need to show people content that they're interested in. Now, the reason people slow down how much they're engaging with your content could be for a multitude of reasons. Maybe your content is simply just saying the same quality whilst everyone else in your niche is getting better and better and better. Maybe it's getting boring and repetitive what you're posting. Maybe you're simply reposting content and people just don't value that anymore. Instead, they just follow the original source for it. It could be for a multitude of reasons, and I'm not saying that's to be rude or unfair. I'm just saying it to be truthful. The key to winning inside the Instagram algorithm is building a community of people who know, like, and trust you and really love your content, and then never letting down that reputation. If someone follows you because they know you put out the absolute best content every single week, all about gardening, and you give people really good gardening tips and it looks great and it keeps them engaged, you need to do your best to keep that reputation up as much as possible. So every time you put out a banging piece of content, people engage with it, Instagram realize these people are still interested, and they just keep pushing that content. If you want to post something off topic or lower quality or a bit random, put it on your Instagram story. It's not going to affect you as much as if you were to put that in your feed and people didn't engage with it. Because if you post a bunch of content that is great and your audience engage with, and then you post a couple of off-topic pieces of content or random or lower quality things and people don't engage with it, then when you go back to posting your great content, Instagram will actually show it to less people because they've realized that people are actually slightly less interested in your account. And this is quite a simplified version of the algorithm, but I think it's important for people to understand. There are, of course, a ton of other things that I've talked about on this channel inside of the algorithm, from responding to comments, share for share, getting on trends, like using engaging features on your story, and all of these things here, which you can check out on my channel. I just didn't want to repeat myself. Okay, moving on to phase 3, we're going to talk about hashtags. Hashtags in 2020 have been a bit of a roller coaster ride, to be completely honest with you. They were working insane, then they dropped off, then they came back a bit, and now they're all over the show again. Instagram removed them from the recent tab, now they're back, but only kind of. It's a complete mess. My strategy with hashtags going into 2021 is to just use them as a passive source of growth and not to rely on them. I set them up once, I have them pretty well done, and then I just add them to my posts each time I post, and it is a nice bit of additional reach. And then every month or two I go through, I update things, and I just leave it at that. That way it takes up very little time, and when they're working, it gives me a nice bit of additional reach. When they're not working, it doesn't really matter because I'm focused on other things, which I'm going to talk about in this video, that I talk about in my free Instagram training, which is linked below. Now, I've got a full Instagram hashtag training, which again is linked below, and you can go and watch that after this video if you want, but I'm going to cover a couple basics here. Number one is targeting, and this is pretty straightforward, but you want to make sure that you are using hashtags that are ultra specific to your content and to your account. The more specific they are, the better, because they're going to just perform better. People are going to click through to your content when searching this hashtag, and it's just going to all around work. The more relevant, the better it will perform, and the more targeted the followers that you gain from these hashtags will be, which is going to help you a lot. The other thing you want to know is size. Don't go too big. Don't go for the massive ones like hashtag fitness, hashtag business, hashtag life, hashtag love, like all of these massive ones, because you're just competing against huge accounts that have got extremely optimized content and massive loyal fan bases engaging with them, which is helping them rank in the trending section of these hashtags. Instead, use smaller, more targeted, ultra specific hashtags that you can trend on and bring people back to your profile. But like I say, for a full hashtag tutorial, I will link that video below. Now moving on to part number 4, and that is Instagram stories. Now these are absolutely gold, especially if you're trying to turn your followers into true fans and then true fans into customers. If you aren't using your Instagram stories to do this, you're missing out on an absolute gold mine. You should be using your stories as a way to communicate with your audience in a way that is not scripted and constantly perfected as you might do with your Instagram feed posts. This way you can show your personality or show a bit more of a raw side of your brand whilst building true connections. On top of this, you should also be using your story to generate leads every single day, and this can be a very natural progression, and it's not something you have to be super salesy with. Now this is something that I go a bit more in depth into in my free Instagram training, which I've actually just released, and I've linked down in the description of this video. You can register for free. It's a 30-minute class, and you can go register, just put in your name and email. We'll send you the training and you can dive straight into it. But you need to dive into Instagram stories. I don't want to spoil the training, but you just want to be as engaging as possible, build a connection with your audience, show who you are, interact with them, use stories, use polls, use Q&As, use all of these different features that Instagram roll out to connect with them and show them who you or your brand or your account really is all about. You can also use this to showcase your work, showcase your day, what you're thinking, relevant news in your industry, etc. Now, moving on to number 5, this one is $1.80. Now, if you have $0 to invest, like literally $0, you need to invest $1.80. Honestly, I'm not sure where I was going with that. I thought that would be kind of a funny play on words when I was writing it, but now that I actually say it, what was I thinking? Maybe I should stick to teaching you Instagram and stay away from the jokes, but apologies. Anyway, use this strategy. Gary Vee coined this strategy years ago, and I was using it even before that, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and it still works to this day, especially for businesses and personal brands who are looking for a very specific type of follower that can easily turn into customers. In that case, it makes for a very good return on investment, and you can use that income to then invest into paid strategies down the line. Again, I have a full tutorial of this linked in the description, which you can watch after you finish this video. But in essence, you want to work out who your target follower is that you're trying to get in front of. You need to find where they are hanging out. What hashtags do they follow? What locations are they posting at? What accounts do they consistently consume content from? Then simply go out there and engage in those areas. Go like the post, go comment on them, go reply to unanswered questions, and just be a part of that community. And that'll naturally bring people back to your profile. And then assuming you've done what we talked about earlier and you've got great content that people are landing on, they're going to love it, and you're going to generate a lot of followers from this method. Now, this strategy can be tedious and take a lot of time. I get it, but it'll get you highly engaged followers, and if done right, they'll also be extremely targeted. I've used this strategy and gained followers who turned into customers that pay me well over $1,000 a month for my services. So it's definitely not a strategy that I would just dismiss as, low quality because it doesn't bring in hundreds if not thousands of followers per day. This works best when you optimize everything else, which again is something that I talk about in the free training below, as well as my program. So you really do want to check that out after this. Okay, so moving on to the sixth part of this training, talking about monetizing your Instagram and turning your Instagram into cold, hard cash. Don't worry, this is fake prop money. I wouldn't have $10,000 sitting in my bedroom. But this is something that a lot of people don't do very well and is actually not that hard at the end of the day. When set up right, making an income from your Instagram is actually pretty straightforward, pretty simple. You don't need a whole bunch of fancy tips or tricks or tactics at the end of the day. It's just about growing the right audience, building trust with them, and then having products that genuinely serve them. And I know that is easier said than done and takes a lot of time and effort, but it's not really that difficult to understand. Keep your integrity and build raving fans who know, like, and trust you and will happily buy from you and get a ton of value when they do, to the point where they're going to come back, they're going to tell their friends, and so forth. Then with the right story promotions and positioning yourself as the go-to person in that niche, or the go-to account to follow, or the go-to brand to buy from, you're going to get a ton of inbound leads coming to you, whether they be buying from your dropshipping store or buying your courses or your trainings or your coaching or whatever it is that you offer. If you want to make money from Instagram, first build that right audience and then go about creating a suite of products that serve your audience. Do it one by one, make them awesome, and help your followers. Now, this doesn't matter whether they're your own products, affiliate products, physical products, services, digital goods like ebooks, courses, etc. You just got to pick one and go with it, and then you can slowly expand on that. Add a call to action in your bio to people to DM you if they want more information. Put the link in your bio link, and then have people find you through your stories as well, through promoting through the right strategies, which, like I say, I talk about in the free training below. Okay, so by this point of the video, we've gone over how to smash it with content. You've got that nailed. You understand how the algorithm works and how to use it. You're smashing it with hashtags, and you're growing when they're actually usable. You're winning in your stories. You're using the $1.80 strategy. You're making sales with your Instagram through people reaching out to you. Now it's time to put the petrol on the fire, so to speak. One of the best ways to scale your growth, aside from investing into better content, is to invest into influencers and ads to put your content in front of more of your ideal audience. Find people who have your target audience, pay them to promote your best content, and you will gain highly targeted followers. Turn these followers over time into customers and advocates for your brand and business, and you can just rinse and repeat that process over and over again. So, what is my specific strategy for Instagram in 2021? First things first, I'm going to focus on putting out a ton of content that is going to be engaging, valuable, and serve a purpose to my target audience. I'm going to make it valuable, eye-catching, and high retention rates. That's the three things you really want to focus on with content. Now, like I mentioned earlier in the video, I'm not great at creating content, so I've got people who make it for me, and that's actually a service that our agency offers as well. On top of that, I'll be applying all of the growth strategies that I talked about in this video to grow organically, and that's going to help me build up my audience faster. As my targeted audience grows, naturally that will lead to sales of my different products, and I'm building out a whole suite of products. Some clients are going to sign up with my agency and be spending a few $100 a month to grow. Others are going to be spending a few thousand. Other people might buy my Instagram course. Some people might check out this YouTube channel here, which generates an income through AdSense and affiliate links. There is a range of different offers I have for people at all different stages. And then it pretty much just comes down to rinsing and repeating it. I use my growth strategies to build my audience. I have a range of valuable products and services that I can offer, and then I put some of the money that I make from that back into growing my account through content, influencers, and ads. This alone should make me $100,000 in 2020, or that's the goal. I want to do that through my personal brand on Instagram in 2020. Now, hopefully this training has been valuable. If you want to get more of a training, then I've got a free one linked below. Like I said, it's 30 minutes. We'll run you through Instagram growth and marketing for businesses, personal brands, entrepreneurs, etc. So if you want to check that out, that's below. If not, I got a ton of other valuable videos on my YouTube channel that you can check out. Make sure you like, subscribe, and I will see you all next time.